Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm going to be doing a quick introduction in a minute here. Welcome, everyone. Bienvenidos a todos. Gracias por estar con nosotros esta tarde. We're going to get started in a couple minutes. I'm just going to let the room fill in a little bit. Voy a esperar a que se llene un poco el cuarto de Zoom. Pero ahorita vamos a empezar el programa. We're going to start the program in a minute. I'd like to thank, first of all, quiero dar gracias a nuestros lectores. I'd like to thank the readers today. Rossana Pérez, Omar Pimienta, Danyeli Rodriguez Del Orbe, and Sehba Sarwar for being available today to participate. Thank you all so much. Muchas gracias por participar. I'm going to be trying my best to go back and forth from English to Spanish. It's, of course, it's not necessary for everyone. It's just that's how I'm going to try and do my portion of the program. Yo voy a tratar de hablar en español y inglés para que entiendan la mayoría de la gente que está visitándonos. Before I go into an introduction to the program, I want to give a brief land acknowledgement. Quiero introducir el programa con un agradecimiento para la tierra. The Armory Center for the Arts in Pasadena acknowledges our presence on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Tongva people. We recognize the Tongva people as the traditional caretakers and current and future inhabitants of the land we occupy, and we'd like to pay our deepest respect to Tongva elders, both past and present. El Armory Center for the Arts en Pasadena reconoce nuestra presencia en el territorio tradicional, ancestral y inédito de los pueblos Tongva. Reconocemos a los pueblos de Tongva como los cuidadores tradicionales y los habitantes actuales y futuros de la tierra que ocupamos. Y nos gustaría presentar nuestro más profundo respeto a los ancianos de Tongva, tanto del pasado como el presente. Entonces, muchas gracias. I also want to have a quick moment of silence, take up a little bit of space in this program for all the Black lives we've lost. Not just this year, but the list of names is far too long now, unfortunately. But I do want to dedicate a little bit of time. Quiero tomar un momento de silencio para todas las vidas negras que hemos perdido. No es solamente este año, pero la lista larga que desafortunadamente está creciendo día por día. So if everyone will join me, please, in a moment of silence. I'll start it now. All right, thank you. And in addition to that moment of silence, I want to encourage everyone to take a moment today, at some point in your day, to celebrate Black excellence and uplift anybody that we can support today who's either suffering from just everything that's going on in the world right now, or just somebody that needs an ear. También les pido que hoy no solamente tomen un momento de silencio, pero también que tomen un momento para celebrar la excelencia de las vidas negras y que apoyen a un amigo o a alguien que necesite un oído de todo lo que está pasando. All right, so thank you very much. Welcome to the Pasajes, Lecturas sobre migración, trauma y sanación. Welcome to the program Passages, readings on migration, trauma, and healing. This program came about because of a reflection I did on the current exhibition that we have at the Armory. Este programa inició inicialmente con una reflexión que tuve con la exposición que tenemos corrientemente en el Armory, una exposición de Tanya Aguiñiga que se llama La Frontera Adentro. The exhibition is called, it's a show of Tanya Aguiñiga, is called The Border Within. And she really takes, especially in this one piece, she really reflects on her history, having grown up alongside the Tijuana and San Diego border, and how she's internalized that. This artwork really reflects in a creative way the feelings, all the complex feelings that surround her having grown up around the border. Ese programa vino de una reflexión, de una obra específicamente de Tanya Aguiñiga que se llama Metabolizing the Border, metabolizando la frontera, que reflexiona sobre su creciendo sobre la frontera de San Diego y Tijuana y todas las emociones y todas las complejidades que vienen con esa situación. So I took a little bit of time for myself and wanted to, I myself was an undocumented immigrant here in the US for many, many years. And I still haven't, I believe, dealt all the way with it. I've only started speaking about it last year publicly. Yo también fui un migrante indocumentado y solo empecé a hablar de esto como hace un año. Entonces, sé que a mí me ha tomado un momento. It's taken me some time. So I really celebrate people who've been able to like talk about their migration journeys or be able to convey emotions about migration journeys. Entonces me fascina y celebro mucho la gente que puede hablar de su experiencia migratoria y celebrar eso. Entonces, as I mentioned, we have here today our amazing group of readers: Rossana Pérez, Omar Pimienta, Danyeli, Sehba, and we're going to start with a sharing by Rossana Pérez. Rossana Pérez, y vamos a empezar, les agradezco mucho a los lectores que hoy ya he hablado un poco de ellos, y vamos a empezar con Rossana Pérez. Rossana Pérez was born in El Salvador and immigrated to the US in 1983 after being released from prison where she was held as a political prisoner. Yeah, she immigrated to the US in 1983. And since then, she's done a lot of great work with Central American organizations. That's actually how we met some time ago when I was working on a different project. Rossana Pérez emigró a los Estados Unidos en 1883 y luego de ser liberada de una prisión donde estuvo recluida como presa política, y desde que ha llegado ha trabajado mucho con diferentes organizaciones centroamericanas y en Los Ángeles, y así es como nosotros nos conocimos. Entonces le invito a Rossana para compartir. I invite Rossana to share her work. So I'll be turning this Zoom call over to her for now.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes a todos. Gracias. Me gustaría agradecer a Ever Rodríguez y el Armory Center for the Arts por invitarme a participar. Es un honor estar aquí compartiendo la palabra con ustedes y con los compañeros y compañeras que van a leer esta tarde. Voy a leer 4 poemas y empezaré. La línea. Camino en la línea, mi cuerpo al norte, al sur, mi corazón. En nuestro peregrinaje nos encontramos en búsqueda de nuestra identidad, tan rica, tan compleja. El viento trae recuerdos, el susurro de mi tierra tan lejana que habita en el corazón. Como piezas de un rompecabezas, caminamos en la ciudad, tratando de figurar el futuro en los escombros del pasado. Entre el norte y el sur, entre la línea de la frontera, limitándonos a ser las ruinas del pasado, los fragmentos del futuro. La ciudad. Ernestina Mengíbar, August 2006. Los Ángeles. Don't let the name fool you. Plenty of bad things happen here. There is a freeway, a system of lines which connects the city with other cities and states. It is an incredible thing. No lights to stop you. You can go at 65 miles per hour. I know it might sound crazy, and it is. A lot depends on the driver's mood. La ciudad goes from the Pacific Ocean shore in Santa Monica to the mountain skirt in San Gabriel Valley. The city feels heartless at times. September polluted air lends the sunsets incredible tones of orange, purple, which dance in the bluish background of the horizon, and the dark profile of the mountains standing in the distance. Nothing like the center of San Salvador, where the cathedral faces the plaza, and the streets, like snakes with white lines on their backs, move around the city. I miss the smell of your gardenias and the crickets chorus by your window. The earth is tilting away from the sun, giving way to autumn. Soon the trees will be naked and the air will get cold. I will crave the warm sun of San Salvador in November. I'll survive the winter. Life is too fast in this city. I don't understand people buy coffee and drinks it while they drive. That's a sin. I remember we used to sit around a table, drink coffee with sweet bread, talk nonsense and laugh out loud. I drink coffee standing in the kitchen, then run to work. Imagine. Oftentimes, the street feels wider. During the loneliness of my step, I carry everybody's presence. Thank you for all. Thank you for your fuerza y amor, abuela. Be your authentic self. Sé auténtico con tu ser, reside en el corazón. A 3000 millas de distancia en donde la autenticidad no es apreciada, al contrario, negada desde siempre. This has to do with my, yours, our roots, our ancestors, the ones who before us came to this land. Me han llamado artesanía, exótica. I like your apron. No es mi delantal, es mi vestido. Te fuiste like chapina y regresas como oaxaqueña. The reminder of the blood, the memory of history that some would like to forget. Why do you dress like that? You are in America. Yo también soy americana, del centro, de la cintura del continente, en donde el sol tempranero ilumina la tierra y hace brillar mi cara de barro recién quemado. It must be that I remind people of their authentic self. Look at you. I am you. You are I. And we are one. El deseo de ser otro o el otro, el que llegó y se impuso, forzó y robó, nos despojaron de todo y quisieron aplastar nuestra identidad. But in the heart, when the night falls, in my dreams, I run naked through the streets of San Salvador and hear the voices, the chanting, my bare feet kissing the asphalt, running, the bullets, the silence. Después corro y estoy en la calle 14 y San Julián, donde la migra esperaba a la gente para hacer las redadas y regresarlas al país de nunca jamás. Your authentic self lives in your heart. Yo soy vos, vos soy yo, somos uno. And here I am in a different land, speaking a different language, being controversial about my authentic self, half here, half there, like many of us, fragmented by the imaginary borders, language, distancia que rompe lazos y nos deja abrazos vacíos, de despedidas rápidas, el frío de ausencia que el tiempo erosiona hasta que ya no están. Lo auténtico reside en el corazón. You are I am you, and we are one. En my last poem, el último poema, Planes de Renderos. I remember being 4 years old, my father reading Rubén Darío. Margarita, está linda la mar y el viento lleva esencia sutil de azahar. Planes de Renderos. In the afternoon, when the fog's white hand came down from the summits to embrace the orange blossoms. Night arrived on our patio without an invitation, crossed the walls into the house, and like a huge embroidered blanket, stars covered the dark sky. I always wanted to know how the stars got there. Abuela, who handed them? Why don't they fall? Little girl, they are tiny things of God. From my balcony in Echo Park at night, when I see the stars, like old friends who I know by name, I still wonder. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Rossana. The powerful words. Yeah, that's very beautiful. We want to send virtual snaps through the Zoom webinar. I know our attendees can't really send feedback like they would if we were all in a room together, but we want to do our best to send positive energy virtually through this socially distant space, right? Muchas gracias por esas palabras. Les invito a los que están atendiendo a mandar la energía positiva, sí, en este mundo así de distancias sociales. Estamos haciendo lo mejor para estar en comunidad. I realized I didn't introduce myself earlier. My name is Sehba Rodriguez. I'm the exhibition program manager at the Armory Center for the Arts, and I helped organize this program. No me introducí anteriormente. Yo me llamo Sehba Rodriguez y soy el gerente de exposiciones en el Armory y organizé este programa. Apologies if you hear my newborn daughter in the background at any point. Lo siento si oyen a mi hija recién nacida, pero ahora quiero introducir a Omar Pimienta. I'd like to introduce now Omar Pimienta. He's an artist and writer that lives and works in the border region of San Diego and Tijuana. His practice examines his practice examines questions of identity, transnationality, and emergency poetics. And I actually wanted to invite him because his the book Album of Fences really has like a visual resonance with our current exhibition by Tanya Aguiñiga, La Frontera Adentro, Borderlands Within. Omar Pimienta es un artista, escritor y que vive y trabaja en la región fronteriza de San Diego y Tijuana. Su práctica artística examina cuestiones de identidad, nacionalidad y poéticas de emergencia. Y yo lo quería invitar porque su libro, el álbum de cercas, tiene una resonancia visual con la exposición que tenemos de Tanya Aguiñiga, La Frontera Adentro. Entonces ahorita voy a invitar a que tome la plataforma. I'm going to invite him to the platform. Thank you very much, Omar.
Hola a todos. Muchas gracias. Gracias por la invitación, Ever, y al Armory Center for the Arts y a los panelistas. Muchas gracias a todas ustedes por compartir el espacio. Voy a compartir, volviendo a la palabra, mi pantalla para ver las fotos que acompañan el libro Album of Fences. Las traducciones, leeré algunas en español, algunas en inglés. Las traducciones son de mi amigo José Antonio Villarán. Entonces, comparto con ustedes. Espero que esto se esté viendo. View slideshow. Esta es la portada del libro y empiezo a leer. Mi padre me recordó a mi padre, giró su mano incompleta en un saludo incompleto. Siempre silbó mientras trabajaba. Marco Ramírez López, Tecolotlán, Jalisco, 1929. 10 de cada 10 padres morirán en esta vida. Catástrofes de un solo dígito, la media vida de un dedo, la huella digital y su fantasma. Ayer cumplió 87 años, se encuentra sano, lo rasuré sin cortarlo. Han muerto ya 3 de sus barberos, varios de sus hermanos, ninguno de sus hijos. Murió uno de sus nietos, Isaac, San Diego, 1991-2009. Hace algunos años murió su compadre, el doctor Moreno, Jalisco, 1931, Tijuana, 2013. Suyas fueron las primeras manos en tocarme, dentro del vientre de mi madre, Sehba Pimienta, Jalisco, 1933, Tijuana, 1994. Nunca aprendí a silbar. Fui la 4ª cesárea. No salí al mundo. Me sacaron. Temo que no me iré hasta que me corran. Mi nombre es Jorge Omar Ramírez Pimienta, Tijuana, 1978. Don Marcos always talked with his hands, always was hand labor for years in 2 countries, the same day in 2 languages. He worked with the talk of his hands. He lost a finger working. That absence, that silence speaks volumes. My father's name was Prisciliano Gil Bautista, Indiana, 1931, Tijuana, 1957. My father's name is Marco Ramírez López, Jalisco, 1929. Official documents, papel picado by time, signatures, lines that travel on a roller coaster. Prisciliano Gil Bautista worked with the body, Marco Ramírez López. Marco Ramírez López worked with the name, Prisciliano Gil Bautista. Marcos bought an identity, Prisciliano donated a social organ wrapped in papel picado. My father remembers the last name of the immigration officer, Cruz. What's your name? Prisciliano Gil Bautista, officer. No, Prisciliano Gil Bautista's dead. Now, I wonder if my father died a little in that other body. Don Marcos, did you always use a baseball cap? Yes, son. What I rarely used was my head. Don Marcos, how many times were you deported? Once or twice. You lost track, Don Marcos? My son, I lost everything. Don Marcos hace alarde de nunca haber cruzado la frontera de forma ilegal. ¿Con documentos falsos? Sí. Siempre por la garita viendo al oficial de migración a los ojos. ¿Con nombre falso? Sí. Nunca por el cerro, nunca por el desierto, nunca por el río. Nunca crucé de forma ilegal, nunca pues, siendo yo. We made window rack for you. I know window rack looks a bit big, but I assure you that it's secure, firme, strong. If you don't like it, we take it back, make it small, bring it fast 2 or 3 days, install it, secure, firme, strong. We work, you pay us, we go back, all happy, señor. Esto no es una mentira. No es una mentira acerca de la mentira, una mentira que prolonga la mentira. Esto es la verdad, la única verdad. Anastasio Hernández Rojas, San Luis Potosí, 1968, San Diego, 2010, se robó una botella de vino para celebrar el Día de las Madres, la propia, la de sus hijos. Cárcel y deportación, golpes y electricidad. La única verdad es muerte. Se puede ver, se puede oír, la mentira se propaga hasta crear un discurso, pero la verdad es esta, la gente muere y la verdad más real es esta, hay gente que muere a manos de otra gente que cree que matar es parte de su oficio. Anastasio Hernández Rojas, San Luis Potosí, 1968, San Diego, 2010, gritó que lo dejaran de golpear, lo golpeaban para que dejara de gritar, la gente lo escuchó aunque no quería escucharlo. El sonido es más terco que la imagen, es el ojo más miedoso que el oído. La verdad, al igual que el miedo, se siente. Pocos pudieron traducir el grito, otros gritaron que lo dejara, alguien pidió como él ayuda, otros quisieron ignorar y cruzaron la frontera. Esto no es una mentira. No es una mentira acerca de la mentira. Esto es la verdad, la última verdad. An agent suspects her, suspects him, suspects me, suspects himself, and above all, suspects the baby. His job to suspect. Everything about you is suspicious. Your glasses are suspicious, your books are suspicious, your car is suspicious, the cloudy day is suspicious, the picture in your ID is suspicious, your last name is suspicious, your ears are particularly suspicious. Your fingerprints, above all, are very suspicious. She carries a newborn. He looks at the documents. There's no picture that's true to a baby. There is no paper that can assure that you are yourself 10 days after arriving at the party. There isn't a father or mother who doesn't suspect during the first 10 days where that baby came from. Suspicion is part of the cog that turns when the world moves. A suspicious customs officer asks her to pull out her breast. He suspects her breast, asks her to breastfeed. If the child is hers, there will be milk. If not, the suspicion will be certain. She does so. He asks her to do it again. During the first attempt, the amount of milk was suspiciously small. She does it again. He allows her to cross, and the line of suspects moves on. Gracias. Gracias, gracias.
Muchas gracias, Omar. Thank you very much. Yeah. Let me switch over. Yeah, that was great. Muchas gracias de nuevo por leer y con las imágenes tan impactantes, very impactful images. For anyone who's crossed the U.S.-Mexico border, this imagery might look very familiar. Para alguien que ha cruzado la frontera de los Estados Unidos y México, una de las imágenes son muy familiares. Next, I want to introduce Danyeli Rodriguez Del Orbe. Danyeli is a Dominican Bronx-raised immigrant rights organizer, writer, and spoken word performer. Her work raises awareness around issues of race, gender, and migration. If you guys haven't checked out her podcast, Loose Accents, I encourage you to do so. Her, along with her partner, Docubay, have very great reflections on everything happening in the world right now. Danyeli es una organizadora, escritora y artista de la palabra hablada dominicana, criada en el Bronx. Su trabajo crea conciencia sobre las cuestiones de raza, género y migración. Y si no han oído su podcast Acentos Sueltos, creo que sería bueno ella con su pareja en Docubay hablan de los eventos corrientes y es muy it's entertaining and it's very educational as well, I would say. So let me turn it over to Danyeli. Le voy a pasar el micrófono virtual a Danyeli.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me and for including me in this beautiful, beautiful event. It's not often that I get to perform about migration and really tell our stories with other migrants. So thank you so much. I will read a few poems, and I guess I'll say that in Spanish. Gracias a todos por asistir al evento y gracias por incluirme. No es tan frecuente que puedo tener eventos con otros inmigrantes que también usan la poesía y usan la palabra para decir su historia, contar su historia. Así que muchas gracias. Primero voy a leer dos piezas de mi libro, Periódicos de Ayer. Y escribí este libro porque muchas veces creemos que no podemos escribir acerca de migración al mismo tiempo que hablamos de amor. Y eso es algo que mi escritura siempre incluye, ¿verdad? The intersections of love and migration, and the many times that we kind of do not place language on how we love as migrants and how we love in our language. So I will read a piece from my book, and I will also perform a few spoken word poetry, so poems. So thank you so much. Here it goes. Te amo. What a privilege. My parents passed on to me the only language they loved each other in, and here I am, passing it on to you. How does that feel? To be loved the most immigrant way possible, to be touched in two places at once. I love you. Qué pesar amarte entre fronteras, encerrados en este país y este lenguaje que todavía me tortura el alma. Algún día, el pasaporte de cielo atardecido. Algún día, con la residencia en tu bolsillo. Algún día abordaremos un avión de aplausos. Y salpicados por el mar Caribe, el malecón de testigo, la isla, nuestro altar, haremos bilingüe este amor. And we will love better in Spanish, when my heart does not get lost in translation, when I miss you, can't butcher, me haces falta, and foreplay is bachata pegaditos a your tía's cumpleaños. I'll have phrases like te quiero, when I'm not ready to let you in, and my stepfather will finally have someone to talk sports with. Someone who won't break his spirit when he pronounces Lebron y curry in his most Dominican accent. You'll join mommy in her teasing when she jokes about the fact that I can't even fry an egg. And I know you won't think twice about my curfew at 21, about the countless family holidays, about the immigrant expectations I should shake off, but do not. You'll be kind to them without trying. There will be a gap that you won't need to break yourself in half to fill. I carry my parents' dreams on my back, love. Here, come here and lay me to rest. You've got the right language in your mouth to do so. And I will go ahead and perform a spoken word poem after this last poem. Find me sola in no man's land, halfway your hood and mine, vestida de blanco como una loca en el muelle de San Blas. Always serene, gap tooth and bachata to the hip. Come barefoot or naked, raw heart. And should there be someone wrapped around your finger or waist, well, bring her along too. After all, I want to know what you've been up to. And should there be any seeds wearing the curve of your grin and or the glisten in your eyes, let them run free. Your harvest is welcomed here. But should you come a lone wolf, no full moon to answer to. Remember me at 23, my stubborn heart and our one-way ticket to Saona Island. Thank you, y'all. And now I will perform a poem that I wrote back in college. And this poem, I wrote it because there were not many stories that really documented Black immigrant love. And I wrote this during a heartbreak when I was trying to heal my poor heart. So here it goes. This is a petty love poem for the last man I loved. You see, I am the woman after the girl talking, and you are no longer the light at the end of the tunnel. You are the tunnel itself. Let every woman before me and after know that I loved you into a better version of yourself, so you and they are all welcome. I don't love you anymore, but Black boy, I still owe you an apology, because you were never meant to become an X, a crossroad, intersection of mass incarceration and mass deportation. You did not fly 3 continents to be called dangerous. So undocumented Black boy, I am sorry. I'm sorry that they use you for target practice, that when the guns don't work, they use deportation as an alternative, that they loaded the rifophobic, xenophobia, and racism and renamed you 2 birds, 1 stone. But if I can make a metamorphosis out of every argument we ever had and every toxic word we ever whispered, I'll turn them into love letters and I'll deliver them straight to the heart of every bigot who hasn't been blinded by the beauty of your smile. Undocumented Black boy, when they call your smile a grimace, when they call it talking back and snapping back when there are too many witnesses to take your life. So instead, they ask you for your papers, remind them that there's a Dominican woman you done did everything to who still forgave you, an atheist. You made believer enough to pray for you every day to come home. You make the impossible possible. So how dare they mess with you? Undocumented Black boy. 5 years have passed since we moved on. Since I opened up my wings and let you go, but I'm still waiting on your call. The call that comes at 3 p.m. when you finally swallow that pride and you open those, when you finally swallow that pride and you open those, and you say, and you whisper those 3 beautiful words that will crack me open like ice does. New York City sidewalks, I slip and fall all over again. So call me up on a Sunday afternoon and finally tell me, Danyeli, I am safe. Don't you worry about my deportation or my death anymore. Undocumented Black boy, I still pray. Your best friend never calls me crying, sobbing because a cop confused your hands for shotguns, your wit for resistance, and then called your existence illegal. I hope I get to see the day that another woman creates a child with your eyes, with your birthmark. I hope I get to see the day that you walk down the aisle dressed in nothing but survival. Prove to me that prayer do in fact work, because I get to see you grow wrinkled and old with the woman you love. You see, the only thing more painful than you moving on is you never having the ability to do so. So do so, live, breathe, because there's an atheist Dominican woman you done did everything to who till this day prays for your safety. That was Undocumented Black Boy. And the next poem that I'll perform is called A Poem of Resistance for Mommy. And I wrote it after Trump inauguration when I found my mother preparing for a potential deportation. So here it goes. My mother raised me fearless. She taught me how to peel plátano without trembling, how to let the blade do its job without shaking. When American kids twisted my name, softened it, broke its sound, she made sure I knew how to correct it. Danyeli, the real way, the Dominican way. When Spanish-speaking teachers drowned me in their spit, my mother scolded me from across the room. And that's how I learned how to swim. My mother raised a swimmer, a sprinter, told me to never stay in places not meant for me, told me to never linger in dark rooms with men holding machetes under their palms. My mother did not speak to me about sex. She spoke to me about fucking. She knew that to survive in our block, she had to punch the wise right into me, making a young woman out of a child and a cub into a panther way before the boys could, but often I was stubborn. I had too much of hurt in my hips, too much of hurt in my lips. I had to learn my lesson when I laid in the concrete, crying after a boy who did not treasure me. I had to learn my lesson when I couldn't go home and face her. I am 25 now. And I'm realizing that aunque me cueste, my mother is sometimes and usually and always freaking right. But don't tell her I said that. Because my mother is a strong woman and she does not soften up to love letters or flowers, and there's too much anger and too much pride for me to tell her all the things that I wish that I could. But if my mother understood this language that breaks her every day, this right here is what I would say. Mami, I know I'm a malcriada. And my temper is 3 hurricanes in one, and the boy child shoes are always bad. And I know that I barely see you because I work so much, and you're out in and I'm out in the streets teaching people know your rights, but you're home rezando that I come home at night. And I know you begged me not to shout at cops or open my big ass mouth, but who else would do this for you, ma? You came here when I was 7, brought me here a year later, worked 3 jobs and paid for college, and they stabbed you in the back, called me a dreamer, gave me DACA, and then asked you to pack your bag. So mommy, I'm not ready. Put down the damn backpack and the passport in the boarding path, because as long as I can talk and move and breathe, I will riot and I will fight and I won't let them touch you, mommy. Not now, not ever, and not tonight. You let this country break your back and gave your life to raise me right. You can't, and we must not give up now. Thank you, y'all. Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for sharing, Danyeli. It's very powerful. I do want to not just brush over the fact that you're speaking so much about love. We want to, part of this program, the title is, I wanted to include sanación, healing in it. Muchas gracias por esas palabras tan movientes. Y también no quiero pasar que pasen las palabras que habló del amor, porque mucho de eso en la sanación que tenemos que mucho de las emociones que tenemos, todavía somos humanos, right? We're still human. We have all these emotions. We do find love. There's so many immigrant love stories. Hay muchas historias de amor entre inmigrantes, especially here in LA, in all immigrant centers, especialmente aquí en Los Ángeles, en todos los centros migratorios. And I love that you're celebrating that, Danyeli. Thank you so much. Lastly, well, before I introduce Sehba, I do want to say that we do have some time at the end for an open mic, a community open mic. Antes de introducir a Sehba, quiero decir que sí tenemos un tiempo para la comunidad, para que comparta con un micrófono abierto. Sé que I know there's a few of you here that have signed up. But if there's anybody who feels so motivated, please use the question and answer function here on Zoom to let us know, and we'll see if there's enough time to share them. We can bring you in. Quiero recordar a la gente que va a haber tiempo después para el micrófono abierto, y si sé que hay gente aquí que va a participar en eso, pero si no tuvieron chance y quieren tratar de compartir, usen la función de pregunta y respuesta que tiene Zoom. Y luego vamos a ver si hay tiempo. Thank you. So I want to introduce Sehba Sarwar. Sehba creates essays, stories, poems, and art that tackle displacement, migration, and women's issues. In 2000, while based in Houston, Sarwar founded and ran a social justice arts organization that was a recipient of NEA awards, and through which Sehba initiated such projects as Borderlands to explore parallels between border issues in North America and South Asia. Sehba Sarwar crea ensayos, historias, poemas y arte que abordan el desplazamiento, la migración y los problemas de la mujer. En el año 2000, mientras estaba en Houston, Sarwar fundó y dirigió una organización de artes de justicia social que recibió premios de la NEA, y a través de la cual ella inició proyectos como Borderlands para explorar paralelos entre los problemas fronterizos en el América del Norte y el sur de Asia. And I met Sehba through a walkthrough for the current exhibition, through Tanya's exhibition. So I think it was very appropriate to have her speak at this and share her amazing work. Y yo conocí a Sehba durante una durante una visita a la exposición de Tanya Aguiñiga. Entonces creo que es muy apropiado tenerla aquí para compartir su trabajo. So Sehba, I'm gonna invite you to share your video, and I'll turn over the platform to you so you can begin sharing. Ahorita le voy a pasar la plataforma a Sehba.
You're going to sound, right? Hi, everybody. Everybody, you're playing the sound first, the sound piece with On Belonging?
Yes, yes, I'm switching over to that now.
Oh, thank you.
From Los Angeles, belonging is a bowl of good hot noodle soup. Reminds me of my family in Hong Kong. Every summer from age 7 to 13, I would go to Hong Kong to see family, and the first thing I would eat would be wonton noodle soup. My mother was born in Tianjin, China.
From El Paso, home is a summer vacation a long time ago. My mother was born in Mexico.
From Los Angeles, home is where the food and people are spicy and warm. Karachi, Pakistan. My mother was born in Karachi, Pakistan.
From Los Angeles, every time I see a nopal on the street, in the yard of a house, on the side of a mountain, I know I found home. My mother was born in Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico.
On Belonging, a found poem. 1. Ocean in my blood. Sunburns from the beach. My mother, siblings, family, four-legged and human. Summer vacation, a long time ago, with a good book where I am safe. Listening to my music, laughter from the belly, spaces in between. Feet on red earth, twisted tongue embrace. 2. Amor, el desierto, long drives, coffee, brick, sidewalks, the smell of rain, tortillas, chile, stone sidewalks, trees, waterfalls, dock in lake surrounded by farmland, a horizon of cotton fields. My elementary school, yard in hot sun, 2-lane Cotton Street after wheat harvest, winter coming. 3. Grandmother's red house and the smell of her PJs, Borderlands, open Texas skies, Bangladesh, open Texas skies, mountains, central space, Punjab, Durango, in the heart of Mexico, Muraran, Aikando, Japan, houseboat in Kashmir, Xi'an city wall, China, my home country, atoms, cosmos, innermost self everywhere, a global citizen. Love has no limitation of belonging. I wrote this poem as part of a larger multidisciplinary project called On Belonging. There were supposed to be images to go with it, but you can find it on my website. Yesterday was the 19th anniversary of 9/11. I'm sure if you were on media, you were bombarded with images, and we couldn't forget it. In 2001, after the World Trade Center was bombings happened, and following that, there was an immediate invasion of Afghanistan. And my partner, Renee and I were bicycling down a main road in Houston, Texas, and we had to slam on our bicycle brakes, and we saw this street lined with US flags. That afternoon, I went home and cried, and I wrote this poem for Renee. Today, we will love and we will open our hearts without flags, without land. My land and my flag are inside your heart, and you are my partner, and you are my land, and you are my flag. Today, my tongue you lick and you love, and your heart and your land are inside my heart and my tongue. Without these flags, we will love each other's tongues and each other's hearts. Burn the flags, burn the land. You are my flag, you are my land. Since September 2001, 40 million people have been displaced. And since then, 800,000 people have died because of US wars. Migrations and crossings happen across borders, many borders, international, national, and local. I wrote this next poem shortly after the US Army began its invasion in Iraq after 9/11. I was teaching at a Houston inner city school. Why I don't write about the war. Because I'm tired. Because I've been writing about the war for 30 years. Because I've been protesting, because before W was a letter in our consciousness. Because writing about the war is speaking your language, a language that doesn't deserve my words. So I roll up my sleeves and drive through factory smoke into a war zone that gets no press. I listen to girls who threaten suicide, girls who stay silent because speaking is too scary. I lose my voice. I know not what to say to teenagers who were born with the exhaustion of their grandmothers, their great-grandmothers, and the fathers they never met. I wave goodbye to boys who smash their bodies against glass windows, then are locked up for a lifetime, so they never sniff factory smoke no more. I listen to children who knew only the smell of birds, the rattle of Maxwell's, and the spit that spews from the 40 industrial hellholes where their mothers, fathers, and brothers sweat every day. Yeah, I walk through the building, and I know not what to say to boys for whom graduation is a joke and dropping out is the only option. So no, I don't write about the war because I am buried in the trenches, struggling to breathe through the screams of domestic collateral damage in the barrio, the ghetto, the prison, where 610 East is one wall between the haves and the have-nots. And every day after listening and not talking, barely breathing, I return to West Houston from the East, another East ravaged by the West, driving away from where the sun once rose. This next poem is called Tearing Wires, Building Bridges, and it's one that I wrote when I was speaking and reading, doing a reading and talk in El Paso, Texas. And my host took me to a wall between the United States and Mexico, long before even this current administration was in power. Those walls have been up for a long time. Tearing wires, building bridges. Interstate 10, a ribbon stringing across the southern borders of the USA, Los Estados Unidos de America, a freeway racing parallel to curling barbed wires and military lights, across which are homes much like the ones on this side, maybe more decrepit, maybe more dusty, but maybe, just maybe, more in touch with the sand, the earth, the cacti, and the lives lost. I have seen walls along the Rio Grande between El Paso and Juarez, and I have heard of guns, walls, and barbed wire, and in Ramallah and Jerusalem. And I know of AK-47s and Kalashnikovs and military checkpoints along Kashmir, Balochistan, and Sindh, borders where sisters wait hours to see their sisters, but then are turned away. More than anything, I know children live, sleep, eat, and roosters crow on every side of the silver wire ribbons that cut across the globe, piercing our skin to draw blood, forcing us to forget that one day we will cry together when our mothers pass away. Mera naam Sehba hai. Munjo nalo Sehba ahe. Mi nombre es Sehba. And I don't need to tell you on any side of Interstate 10 or you anywhere along the silver wire ribbons that divide our globe. I don't need to tell you what I just said, because you know on every side of the border that you, we, I, us are the same. So put down your gun, tear the ribbon, and wear it like a crown over your head, and join us in los Estados Unidos de America, y mundo or dunia, to build bridges and destroy walls. This last poem for today, I dedicate to my mother, Sehba Sarwar, who celebrated her 81st birthday this year and is probably listening on Zoom from Cambridge, Massachusetts today. She was born in North India, and migrated to Pakistan with her family when she was 10. And she now spends time between Pakistan and the US and countries in between, or at least she did before the pandemic, which shut down the globe. Rotation. She heats oil, rolls puri, drops flat flour into bubbling oil. You conquer rules, you conquer, enforce rules, ban travel. In another pan, she pops coriander seeds, tosses sliced potatoes. You build walls, deport passengers, obstruct asylum seekers. She serves flaky puri with flaky, crisp potatoes we devour together. You demand documents, collect fingerprints, require face identification. Our choice: eat, speak, wear, practice as we please, wear what we wish. You cannot hinder climbs, prevent tide, stop earth rotation. Like waves, we cross, we fly, we roar, we stay or leave. Our movement permanent. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. And yeah, I did see your mother's name on the list of attendees, so that's amazing. Love to see this like virtual get together reaching across the country. So thank you to all the readers today. I also want to thank the Armory Executive Director, Leslie Ito, and thank Irene Satsos, who organized the exhibition, of Tanya Aguiñiga. Irene is the Chief Curator and Director of Exhibition Programs at the Armory. We will be opening up soon. I don't know what capacity, but be on the lookout for news regarding temporary or timed visits to the Armory when we start opening back up. Quiero darle de nuevo gracias a Sehba por compartir. Vi que su mamá está también está atendiendo. Es que bello eso, que estamos juntos así como de diferentes partes del país juntos aquí en esta plataforma. Quería también darle gracias a Leslie Ito, la directora ejecutiva de Armory, y Irene Satsos, la curadora y directora de los programas de exposiciones del Armory hoy en este programa. I want to turn it over to the people who so bravely signed up for an open mic. Quiero pasarle la plataforma a las gente que se suscribió para compartir como para la plataforma de micrófono abierto. A ver, voy a ver a mi lista aquí y vi que se encontraba Iván Sali. Creo, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Espero que se pronuncie tu nombre. Iván, te voy a promover a un panelista y para ver si puedes compartir tu audio.
Hola. Hola, gracias, Herbert. Y gracias a los panelistas también por su poesía, por todas las palabras expresadas este día. Mi nombre es Iván Salí, tengo 22 años, vivo aquí en el Valle de San Fernando, en California, y ahorita estoy estudiando inglés, escritura creativa en la Universidad de Northridge. I was born in Mexico City, so I am someone that lives in that state of Nepantla, which is between languages and cultures. So I do speak a little like Spanglish. So I'm gonna share a few poems on the subject of immigration. Recently I compiled a little chapbook, zine, that had to do with that, and also the sentiment of people going out to the streets demanding change, especially here in LA. And I've been a witness to all of that movement, and I have taken part of it. So I'd like to share a few poems about my experience. And I'd actually like to start with this poem. It's called Valles. As you can see, we didn't cross the border crossed us. And it took a while for me to comprehend that and actually come into the historical consciousness of it. So, Valles. I come from another valley where Aztec ruins float over crowded lakes, and terrified poor students flee far away to land in corrupted sanctuaries worshipped every day, between dried up barrios, where natives work in warehouses and on supermarkets, oranges are the only fruit. I thought I left my valley behind, but did I ever leave? I thirst during your droughts, when my apartment sets on fire in September, and I'm still not independent. From these white picket fences, I dream my social security arrives in a mailbox of another valley, where I am not from and will never be. Thank you. This next poem will be in Spanish. If any of you are familiar with Bomba Yucateca, it's a folkloric tradition in the state of Yucatan in Mexico. When they're playing music, there's pauses in between to say a little rhyme, and usually they are improvised. But I wanted to pay homage to, if you could see here, it's a photo I took of a mural over in MacArthur Park in LA of Jaime Escalante, who was a professor in Garfield High School and got kids ahead to pass a calculus exam to then go into college. And he was helping, students of underserved communities. or calculus, as he says in the movie. It's called The Great Equalizer, Bomba Yucateca en Simple Math. Bomba. En mi clase de mate aprendí a matar el tiempo. En la noche, cuando voy de baile, cuento de 100 a 0. Bomba. Mamá Pera reza por mí después de ir al mercado. Yo en el otro lado, al rico le multiplico el ganado. Bomba. Muchacho en un callejón pensando a pie agachado. Cruzaste con el montón y al basurero te sumaron. Bomba. Thank you. And finally, I'd like to share this last poem, kind of painting a picture of the first time that I stepped foot in American soil, or at least United States soil now, which is really stolen land. And it's called First Step. My first step era un niño on the other side, welcomed by threat and restraint. With my hands in the air, I descended from the back seat of a white pickup truck to meet the barrel of a Glock. Aimed at me, it commanded, lie down. Enforcers, uniformed in rigid black and green attire, cut open the chrysalis, interrupting the dreams of 1,000 monarchas in flight to the north. Every minute they remind me, lie down. Facing the cold soil, nos han dado la tierra una vez más. We are like morning dew on the grass. Holding on to our locked fingers over our napes, we pray with closed eyes. Would I have stepped through here again? Had I known what lay ahead? Gracias. So I'll leave a few links on the chat, but thank you again for hosting this. Gracias, Herbert.
Thank you for sharing. That's pretty great. Thanks for showing the booklet too. It's a good visual. Great to have like a visual image. Yeah, that's. I can share a lot of those sentiments, especially coming to realize all the intricacies of being an immigrant here in the States. Gracias por compartir y definitivamente podemos ver todas las complejidades de ser aquí un inmigrante en los Estados Unidos. I think there is, so Ivan, thank you again. I'm gonna open up the platform now to another person signed up for the open mic. I saw Devin in here earlier. I'm not sure if they are still here, but I'm gonna bring in Brian Moreno. Bienvenido a Brian Moreno, gracias por compartir unas pocas palabras.
Gracias, Herbert. Thank you so much, everyone, for setting this up. Thank you, Ivan. I'm very emotional now after having listened to you, Ivan, Sehba, Rossana, Jorge, and Danyeli. Y'all are so powerful and beautiful beings and poets. I'm so thankful to just have to share the space with you all and be in community. I'll get right to the poem. I'm also on Tongva land in Los Angeles. I'm raised más allá por el monte. That's where I am speaking from. The poem is called On Belonging, which actually ties back to Sehba's writings that she was mentioning. And so it's on belonging which is spread out as on be, on belonging, on longing, on being. Here I go. Lineages that cease to exist, to locate and place self in, to excavate and trace a place in time, space, condition, body coordinates, transmission via vessels, vibrations to connect to the web of life. Like a historian who has no sources to narrate, like a poet who has no emotions to express, dislocated memories. May they exist in the body mind? Do they exist in the heart, consciousness, in our soul, our being? Transmissions via vessels, transmissions via trees, winds, olas y ríos, ancestras y sueños, descargas de los cosmos. Do we imagine and speculate? We starve to create, creation starve to be. We justly effort to survive. We voice and write similar stories, often to locate the pieces I am there. Every story you listen to or read, those who share their being, nonchalant nobodies. We know we are. Nothing to be afraid of. Roto las raíces del miedo. Nobody may be peace in mind. There's irony in that. Watershed, stream to locate self in spatial, temporal, no place belonging. Transient that one locates in. When roots cease to propagate, supplanted by a land of graves. Strangers to a land beloved in past. Beloved, you hold the cosmos within you. Cosmolectic beings we be. Power rest in your sovereign erotics. When one's psyche, cultural consciousness fractures, fragmented, they do not understand. I do not understand. Only their own being, my own being, that they piece together, that I piece and weave together. Every piece, piece by piece, woven. And it may be that those from other worlds reach for you. They know you from lives lived. They locate you. And so you see, as you place self in that timeless space, all along in all, never alone on this trail. Spirits with similar gifts that seed from traumatic experiences, guides for the path, company for the long night. Serene, peaceful longing for what may be. Be and love yourself. I forgive you for any traits and survival patterns you internalized while enduring trauma. Now I am here by your side. Spirit called back to heart. Voila, voila. I'm done.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was very, thanks for stepping up and just being so inspired to share that with us. It's very powerful. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for attending. That's I think everybody that volunteered to read for the open mic. Gracias de nuevo por participar. Brian, gracias por compartir tus palabras. Y también gracias a todos a los atendientes por estar aquí con nosotros. Thanks everybody for joining us. I do want to give the panelists an opportunity to share any projects or anything they would like to share before we close out the event. So if anybody wants to say any last words, I'll just provide a few minutes, just if you want to share any projects or point anybody to any links.
I didn't mention my novel Black Wings. So when I read poetry, I don't mention fiction. So I'm primarily a fiction writer, but I love writing and performing poetry. So my novel Black Wings is online, and you can also get it at local bookstores. Support Skylight Books, which is where I did my book launch in LA.
Thank you. And especially now, I think we're all home. We want to support our local bookshops, right? It's one of the few things we can enjoy where we don't have to breathe toxic air. Oh yeah, so the link, oh sorry, go ahead, Danyeli.
Hi everyone. So Periódicos de Ayer is currently out of stock. This is my first book of poems. It's also self-published. It is currently out of stock, but it will be back on my website September 25th. So if you want to support, you can also purchase it there.
Yeah, let us know when it's back in stock. I think, and if you share at least a few people on this event, attending the event, would love to get it. Omar o Rossana, ¿quieren compartir unas últimas palabras?
Hola a todos. Más que el libro, I would like to give una recomendación de la editorial Cardboard House Press, que ahora están en Los Ángeles, estaban en Phoenix. They're doing a great job translating work from all over Latin America. Y todos sus libros son bilingües. Tienen un trabajo y una ética de trabajo increíble. Cardboard House Press, búsquenos por ahí. Están traduciendo cosas increíbles. That would be it. Gracias a todos por estar aquí.
Muchas gracias por participar, ¿no?
Pues no tengo nada que agregar más que agradecerles nuevamente a Ever y al Armory Centro de Arte por la invitación, a Omar, a Danyeli y a Sehba, ¿verdad? Por estar, y a los compañeros que Brian y Iván, que también compartieron sus palabras. Gracias, me parece que es muy importante en estos tiempos que estamos viviendo tener eventos de este tipo para tener ese sentido de comunidad y ser parte del sanamiento que necesitamos, ¿verdad? El movimiento de las vidas negras importan está llevando adelante un trabajo que es muy necesario. Al mismo tiempo reconocer el espacio donde estamos con los Tombas y Abya también, ¿verdad? Que venimos de Centroamérica, América Latina. El podernos dar esa fuerza y de veras respetar la Pachamama, a la tierra, porque nos está diciendo con todos estos incendios que necesitamos, en verdad, hacer cambios. Muchas gracias nuevamente y aquí nos seguiremos viendo.
Muchas gracias, Rossana. Thank you very much, Rossana. And thanks again to all the readers, to Brian and Iván. And muchas gracias a todos los lectores, Brian y Iván. Leslie dejó un link para la exhibición de Tanya, la exposición que está, si quieren ver imágenes o video. Vamos a hacer unos programas en siguiente muy pronto, entonces be on the lookout for that. We're going to be doing programs around Tanya's exhibition soon, so be on the lookout for that if you want to sign up for the Armory email list. Thank you all very much. We'll be sharing this video on our social media platforms, the recording for this in case anybody wants to see it again. All right. Y sí, vamos a compartir este en registro de video el siguiente por nuestras plataformas sociales. Entonces, muchas gracias a todos. Espero que nos visiten de nuevo muy pronto. Thanks, everybody. Hope you can visit us soon. Thanks, everybody.